Hey, this is John Bunn here.
Hi, I'm Hannah Bloodworth, and we're with Century 21 Bunn Real Estate. Today I thought I would talk to John about some of the some important questions when it comes to listing properties. He's got years of experience, but I'd love to pick his brain.
Yes, okay, so you just go ahead and ask me anything you want. If I don't know, I'll call somebody that does. So.
Good. All right, well, for starters, one of the big things is accurately pricing a house. How do you go about doing that?
Ooh, that is a huge question. It's real important, to get out of the box correctly when you're listing a house. And, the biggest mistake you can make is either underprice it or overprice it. So, with us, we spend a good bit of time making sure that we have the right price, and we get that information from the closed sales in the last 6 months in the area that the house is closed in. So we look at that data, and we have to adjust it sometime for acreage or condition or certain extras in a house. So it's all adjusted either up or down based on that.
And every property is very unique.
It is. It's very unique.
How do you tell the motivation of the seller? Does that affect, and how does it correlate?
It is. The motivation of a seller is huge. I mean, I can understand. I've been a seller myself, so I understand that sometimes sellers do not want to divulge everything that's going on in their life, but it's better privately to discuss with the agent if you have certain situations like you're behind on your house payments, or you're getting ready to move because of a job, or sometimes relationships don't work out too well. So it's better to go ahead and come clean and let the realtor know that, hey, you need to sell the house. Or on the other side, you might not be in that big of a hurry. You want to sell your house, but you're not. The more common thing is that the seller has found a better house that they want to buy, so they want to sort of move up.
We're talking about kind of the pricing, but what about first impressions? We always talk about in the office, the first impression is really important. How do you go about?
Well, that sets the stage for looking at the inside. If the outside doesn't look good, that sort of kills it right there. I've actually had buyers will drive up to the house and it looks like a jungle and there's stuff everywhere and the house needs painted and the roof is bad, and those just say, hey, I don't want to look at this house. So the first impressions is huge. Having the yard landscaped, having the house painted so everything pops, and having it clean, and so when you drive up, you set a good tone, you set a good precedent. So when you go in and look at that house, they're already like, golly, the outside looks good. Hopefully the inside looks as good as the outside.
What can you say as far as speaking to condition and staging of properties?
Well, the condition of the property is everything, because people don't want to buy a house and do a bunch of work. They want, they don't want to have to go in and replace the carpet, replace the floors, replace the appliances, replace the windows. They want to buy something that they can just move into. Now, there are different price points, lower price points where people want to buy investment properties. But for your average price point in our county, which is about 400, their expectations are that the house is move-in ready. So,
yes, a lot of people.
And staging is huge. What goes along with staging and condition is that people want to be able to see how their stuff fits into the house. If it's staged, they can see where there's a couch, there's a table, there's a TV or whatever in the house. So staging is real important. People want to feel, oh, I can live in this house. Mm-hmm. And with staging, it brings a warmth to the house that you don't have in an empty house.
Now, so you've got the condition looking good and you've got it all staged. What's your plans for marketing and advertising?
Well, that is a great question. And the staging and condition of the house and the first impressions, that is the marketing. That is, you're getting it ready for the market. And so when you have it staged, when you have the outside landscaped, when you have the house painted, you have it looking good, for that first impressions That's your marketing. Your advertising is where you put a billboard, or you do a video, you put it on Instagram or TikTok. That's your advertising. When you send out, texts and emails to other agents, that's advertising. And I think one of the best ways to advertise your house is put it in the MLS, so all the agents can see it, and then the agents can text it or email the listing to their clients, and that's a great form of advertising.
How do you prepare your seller for inspections and appraisals?
Well, when you get the listing, you might as well go ahead and just lay an outline out of what's going to happen. You list the house, you get it on the market, you have showings, but simultaneously, you need to let your sellers know when you list a house that you are going to eventually get a contract, and you have to, be concerned about the home inspection. So when I list a house, I always tell people, go ahead and fix things. Go ahead and fix electrical, plumbing things. Go ahead and fix rotten wood, paint it. Go ahead and do the things that you need to do to get the house ready for a home inspection. And what that leads to also is it prepares you for the appraisal. The appraisal is going to come up, and appraisers, all people realize is, but the condition of the property is going to have a lot to do with what the house appraises for. So if it looks really good, it's going to help the seller get more money, which is good.
So last question, how do you talk to your customers about understanding different offers and also possession of the property?
It all depends on the price point. There's certain price points in our market where if it's below 400, you're going to probably get maybe multiple offers, or at least the house will sell within a reasonable period of time. And you might ask, what is that? Normally 2 to 3 months. But if it's a higher price house, I always suggest, if it's in the 600,000 or 700,000, the supply of those houses is fairly high now, and the supply of houses for below 400 is fairly low. So I always, when we get offers on the $300,000 and $400,000 houses, they're normally good. Most of the agents know that there's a low supply, and that those houses are not plentiful. Now, on the other hand, you have fewer buyers looking in the 600,000 and 700,000 range, and when you get offers in that price range, and that house could take 5 to 6 months to sell, you might want to look at that a lot closer. And then when you finally get that deal put together, and you negotiate that deal, then you have possession. Possession is so big. When can I move in? And the cleanest way to do this is to move in on the day of closing, the buyer to move in on the day of closing, the seller to move out on the day of closing. Sometimes that's not possible. Sometimes the seller doesn't have any place to go to. And so, you got to work with the buyer and the seller and come up with a date that is feasible for both parties when it comes to that. So possession's huge.
Thank you, John, for taking the time to answer the questions today. Again, this has been Hannah Bloodworth and
John Bunn. And anytime, Hannah, I enjoyed that. I think I learned as much as you did. But hopefully this has been helpful, and I appreciate you sitting down and asking me these questions.
my pleasure. We'll talk to you soon.
See y'all. This is John Bunn. You're here at Scanning Connection.